guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing the top 10 Kickstarters of the month. And before I get started, I do have a few friends who have Kickstarters, and I have a few Kickstarters of my own. I do have our Valentine's Day special Rainbow Canvas. It's a webtoon anthology with some of the biggest BL and GL webtoons with original stories in this anthology, story you cannot see on webtoon. And it brings all those BL, GL books into one place, so guys could go check that one out. We also have an Emerald City Comic Con cover exclusive that's gonna be on Kickstarter for a little bit for Witches of Oz. It's our Glinda Wicked Witch romance book. What better place to have an exclusive cover than Emerald City Comic Con for Emerald City? So that's why we're doing that lenticular cover. It's a really fun one. Now, jumping into our friend Kickstarters here, and that is Glarien and Thane Volume 1. And this is a graphic novella by Charlie Stickney. And you've been following the White Ash universe. It just has such a plethora of wonderful stories there. And something I've been really enjoying seeing with White Ash is that we are getting other people playing in the sandbox. So we have another writer writing for this book instead of Charlie, and from a female point of view. And we have this romance story between the first romance of the White Ash universe. So a really, really fun book. So go check that one out. Now let's jump into the top 10. Number 10 for me is Wild Rose Volume 1. This is based on 1001 Nights. Honestly, a public domain. I feel like that is not really explored on Kickstarter, which is why this really stood out to me. And also, it's a book that puts people of color in the forefront and LGBTQ relationships, which I also thought was a great added bonus there. Moving on to number 9, which is from Zenescope, Terror and Fury, Rise of the Night, Antiheroes Escape. It's about that. And something I really love seeing is these publishers that usually are through Diamond and the direct market finding a new audience through Kickstarter. And I think a company like Zenescope that has a lot of fairy tales and, again, public domain fits very perfectly for Kickstarter. Moving on to number 8, which is Recon and the Little One. This is a sci-fi mecha comic book where it's this robot who's created to kill zombies, but now has to save this little girl. So you have this mechanical, almost masculine side of a comic, and then the other side of it having to save this little girl, which I find to be a very fascinating story. And also the art looked really solid for this one as well. Moving on to number 7, which is the MATRON issue 1. I actually noticed there's a lot of Slavic stories on Kickstarter this month, which I thought was pretty cool. And this is one of them. This is a horror slasher, which, you know, just kind of stopped there because that is one of my favorite genres. And again, I like the twist and the angle that's on Slavic history. So I thought that was pretty cool. Again, something that you just don't normally see in the horror genre or on Kickstarter until this month. Moving on to number 6, which is Pencils Down. This is, I'm sure if you're creative, you can relate to. It's a lazy writer who, instead of a demon coming to life, it's its own pencil. And obviously, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of metatextual story about storytelling. So I want to see that. And also the art seemed fun. You know, I just felt like it was a really cool kind of out there concept that I hope that people go check out. Moving on to number 5, which is Danger Boy and the ANTAGONiSTS. This is a new Cyberpunk book. And, you know, with Cyberpunk, you got to have those really flashy colors. You got to have a really stylized visuals. And that's really what this book showed me. And that's why that is on the list. Moving on to number 4, which is Como Termina la Cancion. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but it's a queer fantasy one-shot where we get to see this guitar come to life because of a cat. I thought the visuals reminded me a lot of a marriage of old school anime and webtoon, which I thought really fit really well, so that it just felt like it stood out. And again, the concept was out there, but also I think relatable. Moving on to number 3, which is Get My Head Straight. It's a memoir all about getting into the right headspace of creating and what that looks like. Again, I think another story, if you're creative, that you can jump into and relate to. Richard always does just a wonderful job with the memoirs and this type of storytelling. So you already have a great track record with his projects. Moving on to number 2, which is Anna issue 1. It is a band who's made a comic, but it's like an action comic. I just thought that was a really cool concept where you're just this band who, you know, already is making awesome music, and they're like, why not also make this into a comic and make it an adventure comic? Again, I just thought it was a really cool concept. good art, and again, out there concept in a great way. Moving on to number 1, which is the defense. I love a good put that genre on its head, and this one's about an attorney who supports villains, right? And it's just like the day-to-day of being an attorney for a villain. You know, again, we've seen the office work superhero story, but I don't feel like we've seen it from this angle, so I thought it was a cool way to put a spin on the genre. But let me know in the comments below, what are the Kickstarters you are most looking forward to for the whole month? What are you backing right now? Hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Go, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.